All right, welcome everybody. Almost the top of the hour here. So welcome to the Flying Doghouse. We're doing a live stream today. Thought it might be fun to do a bit of an explore. We're going to take off here from Oak Island on the coast of North Carolina, and we're going to head up the Cape Fear River. And we're going to take a look at a bridge that goes across the Cape Fear. It's quite interesting, very well done add-in, and we're going to take a peek at the USS North Carolina Museum, which is in Anchorage here in Wilmington. We're just going to have some fun. A little bit of airtime here in the Shock Ultra. Right. No time like the present. Go ahead and get started. Brake is off. There you go. If you are going to join the live stream with the lighthouse tour on Wednesday, this will be our departure airport. And I'm not going to spoil the fun for next Wednesday, but off to our right here, there are two of the lighthouses that will be featured on our tour, which is the Oak Island Lighthouse. It may have been the last lighthouse constructed in the United States. It's quite an interesting building. So not gonna let the cat out of the bag. And then there's the lighthouse at Bald Head Island, affectionately referred to as Old Baldy. So we'll take more note of that on Wednesday. So what I am planning on Wednesday, if you're interested in that particular activity, is I do have some information to pass along, with respect to each of the 7 lighthouses. They all have their unique story to tell, so we'll venture across some of that. So what would I tell you about Oak Island? It's a great place to go on a vacation, that's for sure. One of the places that our family goes on a repeating basis. It's also home to one of the nuclear power plants in North Carolina. It's the McGuire plant. And there are some barrier island features here, so Carolina Beach would be one. And there are some other historical things out and about here. Fort Fisher, which was a Confederate fort during the American Civil War. And it's also home to the North Carolina Aquarium. Lots of sea turtles here. Sea turtle nests are protected, and there are folks who live in the community who help steward the march of the little baby turtles every year. So when they hatch, it's called a boil, because the sand literally does look like it's boiling as they are hatching and then digging their way out. Alright, we'll make our way up the Cape Fear here. Excuse me. Allergy season here in the Carolinas. But Microsoft continues to make improvements on scenery. I noticed today that the salt marshes look much better than they did in the past. If you're interested in flying a short takeoff or landing aircraft, there are a number of free airplanes that are available from inbuilds. They did release a pack of airplanes that are available for free. I believe there's a Carbon Ultra. I have flown it. It is obviously to a higher level of performance than what I am currently flying, the Shock. But I've only recently discovered this as an activity. I've been simming for quite some time. And also hosting group flights over on Virtual Flight Online. So if you've never done a group flight, there is not a better group of people out there to try that. And we have regularly scheduled flights on our Discord. Sundays, Mondays, and then we have events that are also scheduled on Wednesday and then on Saturday. So you've got some choice in terms of time, but we do mix up where we go. And I would say that this flight is probably pretty typical representation in what we try to do with our Sunday and Monday flight. It's very relaxed, a lot of fun. So the Cape Fear River and the Port of Wilmington quite busy. You get to see large container ships going in and out of the river, particularly if you're laying on the beach at Oak Island. And there's also a very large bulk breaking point for natural gas here too. And you'll see those steam in. So this area of the state is quite busy during the summer. For beach vacationing and fishing, and also golf. Lots of golf courses on the both the North and the South Carolina coast. Probably need to be sponsored by like a Chamber of Commerce or something. Like a travel guide. Anyway, hope you find that commentary interesting. Now the Barrier Islands to our right. This is where Carolina Beach is located. Quite a few drownings take place here. On this section of beach. The tides are very strong and the ocean depth increases quite quickly. And lots of rip currents to be worrying about. And if you're a basketball fan, this would be, Wilmington would be the hometown for Michael Jordan. And he went to high school here. And Wilmington is just a charming old southern city. Lots of history. So one of the add-ins that we'll see here in just a few minutes is Cape Fear River Bridge. And it's a drawbridge, so it turns to allow ships to pass through. And it's a little bit disconcerting going over that bridge. It's wire mesh in the middle. So your car and truck tires make interesting noises as you go across. And it's pretty narrow. And I'm sure most of us that are flying in Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 are anxiously awaiting the actual product release of 2024 to see what that's going to be all about. I don't know that I have been surprised with some of the news that has come out this week in terms of computer horsepower and disk space and features, although quite a few aircraft. And quite a few aircraft I didn't really expect. I sure wasn't expecting a C-17 in the mix. Especially with the quality of work that Delta Simulations has done with their C-17. It's absolutely outstanding. So if I was a betting person, I would be betting on the fidelity of that Freeware aircraft. Because those folks have done a lot of hard work with that aircraft, and it is very well done. Seem to be some floatables too. I think I remembered seeing a hot air balloon and then maybe a blimp or two. But I'm just excited to see what how much of an impact on the experience the threaded rework of the plumbing of the sim is really going to lead us to. But anyway, there are plenty of YouTube videos out there for you guys to watch in terms of what's going on with 2024. So stay tuned, I guess, on that front. I anticipate Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 continuing to have a long shelf life. As well it should. We are continuing to make our way up the Cape Fear River. I'm going to guess we're probably 2.5, 3 miles out from the bridge, and then also very shortly after that, the USS North Carolina. And then we'll turn and make our way to a little charming airstrip that's located in Carolina Beach. Pretty much fly in and then taxi over to your cottage kind of airfield. And I thought that was kind of charming. Here on off our right wing is some of the infrastructure here for the port. Most of it is photogrammetry, which is fine. Not everything in the sim is going to be modeled and rendered. Although this might be a good location for scenery developers to doing some work. It'd be nice to see some cranes, some other scattering infrastructure here. We are coming up on the bridge. Guess we can slow down a bit. I'm going to pop over into flow. Things out of touch. So here's the bridge. And it's very, very well done. This will make a circuit around it. It always does give me a chuckle when I see cars running across a lake or a stream or a river. This bridge is quite old and quite charming. Well, I'm just going to make a 360 here, and then make my way over to the BB55. I guess while I am setting myself up for making my way over to it, the North Carolina was ordered in 1937 and then keel laid down in 37, and it was launched on 13 June 1940, commissioned on 9 April 1941. It was actually a lead class of battleship. It was the first in its class. There was the North Carolina class of battleships, and they were built under the Washington Naval Treaty, if you're familiar with that bit of history, which basically limited a number of ships and size of guns and all sorts of fun things. Anyway, there was a loophole in that treaty that did allow the North Carolina to be fitted with 16-inch guns. And here we go, an obscure fun fact: the deck of the North Carolina is made out of teak. It is absolutely gorgeous. At any rate, there's a historical society that operates the museum that's located here with the North Carolina. It definitely participated in some key battles during World War II in the Pacific, particularly in Guadalcanal. And shot down quite a few aircraft during that engagement. It was also torpedoed and had to return to Pearl Harbor for repairs. But later in the war, it was involved in the Gilberts and the Marshall Islands and the Battle of the Philippines, and then later on in the war, supporting operations around Iwo Jima and then also Okinawa. So it is definitely great to have to have the ship here. And interestingly enough, you can overnight on the battleship. There are lots of school groups that do that, and lots of scouting organizations that will take advantage of that. At any rate, that particular add-in is available for download on Flightsim.to. So we'll make our way back down the Cape Fear River and take a gander at the airfield over here at Carolina Beach. Make our way there. We'll go back across the port. Well, I guess something else, just totally obscure. There is a very famous place in Carolina Beach called Britt's Donuts. It is one of those charming little family-run places that has been open for a very, very long time. But fresh donuts daily until they run out. And they are absolutely wonderful. Well, there you go. Have a Google map search for Britt's Donuts. So this area of North Carolina last week was flooded out with a tropical storm that made landfall in the Carolinas. So if you were here, it was not fun. And to make it a little bit more hair-raising, it's school time. And apparently school system in Wilmington did not cancel schools and ended up with children at schools with flooded roads. But that's probably not the parent experience you're looking for. Well, I'm really curious in the chat, what are you folks looking forward to the most with Flight Sim 2024? While we're making our way over here to Carolina Beach. I think for me, it's probably seeing what they're doing with model matching more than anything else, since I've spent so much of my flight sim time in group flights. Speaking of group flights, there's Peter. Peter, hope you're keeping well. Thanks for joining today. Appreciate it. Giving us a buzz. Lots of boat docks scattered here and about onto the river. And obviously you can see all the vacation homes laid out. Our way over. I'll come in behind Peter here. But one of the things that was really surprising to me was just how slow this aircraft will go without stalling. Again, I had not spent a lot of time flying this kind of aircraft. Peter, I see you coming in. I'm going to make a downwind here. I thought we were going to turn final. With a 2 mile, or touch and go with a 2 mile an hour tailwind, probably not going to matter. Get ourselves loaded up here. So I do have a group flight planned later in October using the ultralight in Idaho. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be something different to do as far as our group flights is concerned. Controller issues. Lost the bird. Alright, there we go. We'll make our way over to Ocean Isle. It'll be about 30 miles if I'm remembering correctly. I believe we may have landed at that particular airstrip in one of our virtual flight online flights. And this particular section of North Carolina that we're getting ready to fly over And you will soon see why. Lots of tree farms. For paper and also for construction materials. But there are thousands and thousands of acres in this part of North Carolina that serve that purpose. And it also makes for a less than stimulating drive if you're driving from elsewhere in the state to get to the beach. Lots and lots of trees. Quite a bit of agriculture also in this area in the state. And during the summer you can definitely count on lots of fresh vegetables and things. Melon, watermelon, tomatoes, cucumbers, all conveniently placed on all those beach roads that I just mentioned. And the other thing that I would call out would be bear. You don't think about, bears living in this kind of terrain or environment, but bears sure here. And eastern diamondback and timber rattlesnake are two of our other residents here. And some fox and some bobcat, deer. This part of the state in summer is very hot and very humid. We had just popped onto our flight. We had visited the North Carolina, taking a look at the Cape Fear River Bridge, and we're on our way to our final destination, which is Ocean Isle Beach. And it is also another beautiful place to stay on the North Carolina coast. And has developed significantly in the last 40 years. Probably one of the sleepiest beach communities on the coast, and now it's anything but that. Lots of development and, quite frankly, sometimes quite crowded. but lovely nonetheless. I see that Devil Dog is with us. Devil Dog, welcome. Thanks for being along today. As I said, lots of trees. So right below us is, I think that's power line easement. Interstate. And Devil Dog, since you're on the flight today, I'll just briefly mention that this is the area in North Carolina where they were doing a lot of the manufacture of the Marston mat. Yeah, it is cool, isn't it? I guess the other thing that I would share is that my grandmother, who was a WAC during World War II, lived for a time in Wilmington during the war, and my grandfather was working in the shipyard as a steam fitter. And I remember my grandmother talking about blackout shades and also witnessing some of the military activity that took place outside this port. And most people really aren't aware or don't really think about it, but you know, there were a number of ships that were torpedoed by the Germans and U-2 boats off the coast of North Carolina. This was a heavy port for moving material over to England during the war. Alright, we can make our way along the coast. We're now coming up on Holden Beach. And one of the things that we can thank the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for helping construct is the intracoastal waterway. So if you notice that there is what looks like a river running just behind the coastline. Well, that's the intracoastal waterway. Again, an isolated and safe way of being able to navigate and move goods and materials. So now it's a great way, I guess, to take your large boat or your yacht for a spin and go from place to place and enjoy the fun and the scenery. Yeah, so anyway, we'll make our way over here to the intracoastal waterway, and then we'll intercept our magenta line, and then we can land in Ocean Isle. And as we travel further and further south here away from Wilmington, exponential increase in the number of golf courses. There are literally hundreds in this area, and then also in Myrtle Beach. It's a major golf resort. I think sometimes one of the things that being from this area that we particularly take for granted is just how much beach we have, and it's accessible, and it's very wide. There are lots of private docks that jut out into the intracoastal waterway. And there are a lot of communities built on the coast that are like the one that are off to my left wing. Build a condo and a boat dock with good access to the intracoastal waterway. And you'll see more of the same when we get to Ocean Isle. Very creative way for creating investment opportunities, I guess, for real estate. All right, we're coming up on Ocean Isle Beach here. 4,177 foot runway. I've got winds 279 at 2 knots, so I'm going to come straight in, I guess, on 2-4. Over there. And we sure won't need to use very much of this airfield. Start bringing my speed down a little bit. And Peter, I'm going to slow down and maintain some good separation from the two of us. I'll give you room to make your landing. Well, I hope everybody has enjoyed the live stream here. Will definitely give you a good idea in terms of what you can expect in terms of commentary for the flight on Wednesday evening. And I think it's totally awesome that we've had some Freeware developers take some time to add to the collection of lighthouses that we have in the sim. And kudos to Microsoft for doing Cape Hatteras lighthouse and also Cape Lookout. 2 years ago, Cape Lookout was not in the sim. And Microsoft definitely spent some, and Asobo spent some money on building out Cape Hatteras, and it's probably one of the most famous lighthouses in the U.S. It's actually the tallest. I want to say that it's the equivalent of a 12-story building. And that lighthouse has some interesting history. We'll talk about some of the engineering to make this take place, but that lighthouse was actually moved. And it was not disassembled and moved, it was moved. So we'll talk about that more on Wednesday evening. Alright, making our approach here. True to my nickname, coming in a little hot. We'll drop some flap here. So I mentioned in the video that we did yesterday at Cape Lookout, it's fascinating that these aircraft can go as slow as they can go and not stall. A tremendous amount of thrust to weight ratio, and then surface area on the wing, and then extending that with these huge flaps. But you don't want to get too slow. You definitely will start losing control authority, and you will stall. And this particular bird doesn't give you much buffeting warning in terms of a stall. You will feel the aircraft sort of washing around a bit. And when it drops a wing, it's sudden. So somewhere in the neighborhood of around 30 is a good number. You can get away with 25, but any slower than that, then be prepared for something unpleasant. I think we are good and lined up here for runway. Oh man, we're going to have to give Microsoft an F for this particular airfield because there's no tree right here. What are you doing? Microsoft and Asobo are asleep on the job. There's no Asobo pine here. Brian, I know you're behind me, so I'm going to make my way a little bit further down the runway before I land. Continue here. Get out of your way. Alright, looks like a couple of opportunities ahead for me a cup of coffee or tea. Drifting there, Brian? Oh, that's a lot of fun. I can definitely see myself scheduling quite a few of these stall kinds of aircraft flights for us to experience. At any rate, thanks for being here on the stream. Thanks for joining us. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the experience here. We'd love to have you along. Looking forward to Wednesday. All right, so I think we'll end our stream here. Thanks everyone for being along again. Take care. Best wishes for good health. Cheers, everybody.